A safe haven. Samantha could feel the chill settle deep in her bones, but it wasn't the cold that made her shiver. It was the fear. She hadn't expected this weekend trip to end up in a nightmare. The rustic cabin in the woods was supposed to be a peaceful getaway, a break from their stressful lives, not the setting for a terrifying ordeal. Next to her, Emily's soft breaths trembled in the dark. Samantha kept a hand on her girlfriend's shoulder, hoping to keep her grounded as they hid together in the cramped basement. Emily was always the calm one, the gentle soul who believed in looking for the good in everything. But now she was on the verge of breaking down. "I'm sorry," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible, carried by a hint of panic. "I shouldn't have suggested coming here." "Don't apologize," Samantha reassured her, her own voice much more confident than she felt. "We couldn't have known. It was supposed to be a celebration." A year since they had started dating, and Emily had found this quiet cabin online, secluded in the middle of nowhere. Samantha had teased her for picking such a cliché location, but now she wished she had been more vocal about her apprehension. The silence of the basement was suffocating. The walls felt like they were closing in, and the dim light from Emily's phone only added to the eeriness. Outside, the sound of footsteps could be heard faintly as the intruders roamed around the house, searching for them. Samantha's heart raced. She had promised Emily that they would be safe, but right now, even she wasn't sure how they were going to get out of this. She had seen enough horror movies to know how these things ended. The key was to stay quiet, hidden, and hope the police would arrive soon. But hope felt fragile at the moment. Emily shifted closer, burying her face against Samantha's shoulder. "I'm scared." "I know," Samantha whispered, wrapping her arm tighter around her. "But we'll get out of here. I won't let anything happen to you." Emily sniffled, her fingers curling into Samantha's shirt, seeking comfort. "You always know what to say." "Well, I've seen a lot of horror movies," Samantha tried to joke, her lips twitching into a small smile. Emily let out a weak laugh, though it was laced with tension. "Of course you have." Samantha leaned down, pressing a soft kiss to the top of Emily's head. "We'll be fine," she whispered again, more for herself than anyone else. "We'll find a way out of this." The footsteps grew louder, and they both froze, their breaths held. The door to the basement creaked open, and the faint light from upstairs spilled down the steps. Samantha's heart leaped into her throat. The shadowy figure at the top of the stairs paused, as if deciding whether to come down. Samantha instinctively placed her hand over Emily's mouth gently. She could feel Emily's breath, fast and shallow, against her palm. Every second stretched into an eternity as they waited, unmoving. Finally, the figure moved away, the door closing with a soft thud. Samantha let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding, slowly lowering her hand from Emily's face. "We need to find a way out," Samantha whispered, "before they come back." Emily nodded, wiping at the tears that had fallen. Her eyes were filled with fear but also a flicker of determination. Samantha admired her for that. Even in the most terrifying moment of their lives, Emily was still holding on to hope. Quietly, they crawled toward the basement window, trying to move as silently as possible. Samantha knew they were taking a risk, but staying in the basement meant they were cornered if the intruders came back. They had to make a break for it. As they approached the window, Samantha carefully slid it open. The cold night air rushed in, but it was a welcome relief compared to the claustrophobic basement. She turned to Emily, her heart aching at the sight of her girlfriend's tear-streaked face. "Ready?" she whispered. Emily nodded, though her hands trembled as she reached for Samantha's. Samantha squeezed her hand tightly, giving her a reassuring smile. "I've got you," she said softly. They climbed through the window, into the dark forest that surrounded the cabin. The woods loomed around them, but for the first time that night, Samantha felt like they had a chance. Hand in hand, they ran into the night, leaving behind the terror of the cabin. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together.